In the dead of night in England, three animal rights activists break into the Cambridge Primate Research Center, determined to expose what they believe is cruelty. Inside, they find chimps locked in cages, forced to watch endless footage of violence and rage. As they begin snapping photos, a panicked scientist catches them. He pleads, "Don't open the cages. The animals are infected with something terrifying, a virus called rage." But they don't listen. One chimp is freed, and within seconds it lunges, brutally attacking one of the women. The others manage to kill the animal, but it's already too late. The infected woman collapses, then begins spewing blood, some of it splashing across her friend's face. The scientist begs them to kill her. But before they can react, she turns into something monstrous. Chaos erupts. Cut to 28 days later. Jim wakes up in a hospital bed, alone. Disoriented, he stumbles through empty hallways, calling out for anyone. Silence answers. Outside, London is a ghost town. Streets abandoned, buildings in ruins. From a vending machine, he grabs warm sodas for survival. Then he walks through the hollow city, where newspapers speak of collapse, and a wall plastered with missing posters, whispers of the millions who vanished. Jim wanders through the silent city until he finds a church. Inside, disturbing messages cover the walls. And in the main hall, he's met with something worse. Dozens of decaying bodies, slumped in eerie stillness. He whispers, "Hello?" And suddenly, some of them move. Blank-eyed, twitching. Then a priest appears. But something's wrong. He's infected. Snarling, Jim panics, swinging his bag of cans to fight him off. It barely slows the priest down, so Jim bolts. More infected pour out of the church, chasing him through the streets until he reaches a gas station, where two strangers, Mark and Selena, are already fighting back with fire. Molotovs light up the night. Once Jim is clear, they blow the station sky high. The pair lead him to their hideout, a dusty sweet shop buried in the underground. There, Jim explains he's just woken from a coma after a car crash. Selena fills him in. A deadly virus, born in a lab, spread like wildfire. It turns people into raging monsters. The government's gone. The military failed. Still hoping for something, anything, Jim insists on checking his parents' house. Selena warns they're probably dead, but agrees to go with him. By morning, the three move carefully through a hollow London, finally reaching Jim's childhood home. Inside, he finds his parents lying peacefully in bed, gone by their own hand, choosing death over infection. A note rests on the pillow. "Don't wake up." As Jim breaks down, Selena and Mark try to comfort him. They've seen worse, watched loved ones become the very monsters now roaming the streets. That night, unable to sleep, Jim watches old family tapes. But the flicker of light draws attention. And suddenly, two infected crash through the window. Jim screams. Within seconds, Selena and Mark charge in, fighting with ruthless precision until the room is still again. Selena checks Jim over, frantic to be sure he wasn't bitten or contaminated. He's clean, but Mark isn't so lucky. Blood covers a wound on his arm. Infected blood. Without flinching, Selena does what she has to. Her machete comes down fast and merciless. Mark never stands a chance. Coldly, she tells Jim they have to move. More infected will be drawn to the noise. After cleaning up, changing clothes, and grabbing whatever supplies they can find, they leave. Selena warns him, if someone gets infected, even a loved one, they have to be killed. Instantly, no second chances. Later that night, they spot flickering lights from a nearby apartment block and go to investigate. The building is crumbling, the lobby piled high with shopping carts. They climb over the mess and head for the stairs. Halfway up, the silence shatters. Screeches echo through the stairwell. Zombies are inside, climbing, fast. Jim and Selena race upward, breath ragged. Suddenly, a man in riot gear blocks their path. Calm but firm, he gives them his apartment number. Then turns to face the infected, holding them off with a riot shield and swinging a bat like his life depends on it. Jim and Selena reach the door, but the girl inside won't open it. Not until the man returns safely. When he does, they're finally let in. Inside, they meet Frank and his teenage daughter, Hannah. This is the source of the lights. Frank's signal, a beacon of hope. He's relieved it finally worked. The next morning, Frank shows Jim the rooftop, lined with empty water buckets. It hasn't rained in days. Supplies are running dry, time is running out. Then he plays a radio transmission, on repeat. A military broadcast from Manchester offering safety and a possible cure. Frank wants to go. Selina isn't convinced. She thinks it's a trap. Or worse, just a ghost signal from a world that no longer exists. Hannah speaks up. With a quiet strength, she tells them it's worth the risk. That hope still matters. The group loads up Frank's cab with supplies and hits the road toward Manchester. As they leave the city, the devastation stretches out around them. Abandoned streets, silent bodies, a world undone. In a dark tunnel, the way is blocked by wrecked cars and corpses. Frank doesn't hesitate. He drives straight into the mess, forcing a path through. They make it, but not without damage. One of the tires bursts. As they rush to change it, a strange sound rises. Then they see them, hundreds of rats fleeing in terror. Something worse is coming. No time for tools. Jim and Frank lift the car while Hannah scrambles to change the tire. The shadows of the infected loom closer, climbing over wreckage. Just as the first ones reach them, the car roars to life, and they speed away. Hours later, deep in the countryside, they stop at a rundown burger joint to siphon fuel from a truck. Jim wanders inside and finds a lifeless family frozen in time. But then, movement. A zombie child attacks. Jim is forced to kill him. It's brutal. It's personal. Back on the road, the scenery shifts. Quiet hills, wild horses running free, peace for a moment. At dinner, Selina lets her guard down, even planting a soft kiss on Jim's cheek. For the first time, things almost feel normal. That night, they rest in the ruins of an old castle. Jim and Hannah can't sleep. Selina shares her sleeping pills, one small kindness in a broken world. Jim wakes the next morning in a panic, alone. But it's just a dream. Frank gently wakes him. They're still together, for now. As they continue on, the silhouette of Manchester rises in the distance, engulfed in flames. Eventually, they find the military blockade from the radio message. Trucks, equipment, but no people. Just emptiness. Selina says they should leave. But Frank refuses. He needs this to be real. Angry and frustrated, he lashes out, kicking a wall to scare off a crow pecking at a corpse. But fate is cruel. A single drop of infected blood falls into his eye. Frank knows. Instantly. Tears in his eyes, he turns to Hannah, his voice trembling. I love you. Stay away from me. As the virus takes hold, Frank begins to change, his face twisting in rage. Hannah tries to reach him, still clinging to her father, but he shoves her away with violent force. He stumbles back, trembling, snarling, no longer in control. Selina grabs Hannah, holding her tight. Jim, do it, she shouts. But Jim freezes. He can't bring himself to kill his friend. Then, gunshots. A military unit appears from the trees and takes Frank down in seconds. The soldiers escort the shaken group to a fortified mansion deep in the woods, a makeshift base run by the few who've survived. Major West greets them with practiced calm, offering food, hot showers, and a false sense of safety. Later, while Hannah naps, Selina breaks down. The weight of it all finally crashes in. Jim tries to comfort her, kissing her gently. For a moment, she kisses him back, until reality sinks in. She pulls away, silent, and leaves the room. Looking for answers, Jim approaches West and asks about the supposed cure from the radio broadcast. But West doesn't talk about medicine, only fences, food, weapons. His solution is survival by brute force. He leads Jim outside to show him a chained zombie soldier being held in the courtyard. An experiment. West wants to see how long it takes to starve one of them. Jim is disturbed, but West insists this could be the real answer. That evening, the group dines with the soldiers, who quickly reveal their true nature. The air is thick with dominance and unease. West, in full uniform, mocks the cook for a minor mistake and casually suggests that Hannah should take over kitchen duties. Suddenly, alarms blare. The mansion is under attack. The soldiers rush outside with cold efficiency, taking positions and mowing down a wave of zombies with explosive firepower. Within minutes, it's over. No injuries, no fear. But once inside, the real horror begins. One soldier, Mitchell, corners Selina and tries to take advantage of her. Jim intervenes, but Mitchell easily overpowers him. It takes Sergeant Farrell punching Mitchell to stop him. Major West arrives just in time to break up the scene and orders everyone to dispose of the bodies outside. Then he pulls Jim aside for a private talk. What he reveals is chilling. A few days earlier, a soldier named Jones nearly took his own life, believing there was no future. To give the men hope, West promised them women, Selina and Hannah. That's why the broadcast was sent out. Not to save lives, but to lure them in. Jim is horrified. He tries to escape with the girls, but soldiers ambush them before they can make it out. They're beaten and captured. Farrell, disgusted by West's plan, speaks up and is taken prisoner too. He and Jim are locked in a room together. In the quiet, Farrell offers a glimmer of hope. The infection might be isolated. It likely never left Britain. The rest of the world could still be normal. For the first time in a long time, Jim lets himself believe. Morning breaks. Mitchell and Jones march Jim and Farrell into the woods, right to a pile of rotting corpses. Execution time. Farrell stands tall, calling them out for betraying their own. It sparks an argument. Jones wants to end it quick with a bullet. Mitchell, twisted as ever, wants to draw it out, make it personal. Jones snaps first. He fires, killing Farrell and grazing Mitchell's arm. While they scream at each other, Jim seizes the moment and vanishes. The soldiers panic, but Jim's already one step ahead. He'd hidden among the bodies, playing dead. Once clear, he scales the wall, ditches his shirt to throw them off, and slips into the forest. Mitchell scoffs. Let him run. The zombies will take care of it. But in the trees, Jim stumbles, falls, and looks up. A jet slices across the sky. Farrell was right. The outside world is still intact. There is hope. Back at the mansion, the soldiers dress Selina and Hannah in gowns, preparing them for a sick celebration. Selina resists at first, but then shifts tactics. She flirts with one of the guards, even kisses him, asking for privacy so they can change properly. He buys it. Once alone, Selina hands Hannah a pill, something to dull what's coming, a bitter mercy, but their moment is cut short. The soldier overhears the conversation and bursts back in, only to be interrupted by the blaring of the mansion's alarm. It's Jim. He's triggered the blockade alarm to draw them out. West and another soldier rush to investigate, searching the woods, but Jim is watching, waiting. He ambushes the soldier, knocks him out, and when West comes looking, he finds the man dead, slumped in his own jeep. Panicked, West opens fire into the trees, then tries to flee. But Jim's already sabotaged the vehicle. And that's when a zombie leaps from the shadows. West shoots it down, barely survives, then races back toward the mansion. Meanwhile, Jim returns, armed now with the soldier's weapon, and heads straight for the chained zombie in the courtyard. He sets it free. It crashes through a window and attacks the guards watching over Selina and Hannah. In the chaos, Selina grabs Hannah and pulls her to safety, while the zombie vomits infected blood on a soldier, infecting him instantly, before charging after Jones. More chaos, more screaming. Another soldier turns. The infection spreads like wildfire. Selina and Hannah try to escape, but Mitchell stands in their way. Then Jones comes sprinting by with the zombie on his heels. Mitchell sends another soldier after them, choosing to deal with the girls himself. Jones hides in the kitchen, shaking with fear. As the zombie closes in, Mitchell's friend bursts in to help, only to be jumped and infected by the second zombie. Outside, Jim watches from a window, expressionless. Inside a cupboard, Jones sobs quietly, helpless. Once the infected clear out, Jones tries to run, but Jim finds him, and without a word, ends it. He slips through a hidden door to avoid the swarm as they thunder up the stairs. Meanwhile, Hannah escapes from Mitchell and ducks into a changing room. There, among her things, she finds a photo of her father, a reminder of what she's lost. Suddenly, footsteps. A zombie. She hides behind a mirror, silent, trembling. The creature sees its reflection and snarls at its own face, before wandering off. Back in the mansion, Jim searches frantically for the girls. In one room, he finds a soldier crouched in fear, out of bullets, begging for help. Jim says nothing. He turns, leaps from the window, and leaves the man to his fate. From the roof, he spots Mitchell, about to assault Selena. Fueled by rage, Jim crashes through the window. Mitchell grabs Selena as a shield, but Jim doesn't hesitate. He tackles him, forcing him to release her, then slams Mitchell's head into the wall, again and again until it's over. Selena watches in shock, machete raised, unsure if the man in front of her is even still human. She hesitates just long enough for Jim to speak, and she realizes it's still him. They kiss. But then, crash. Hannah hits Jim with a vase, terrified he's infected. Once she sees he's fine, relief floods in. They rush outside. At the taxi, West is waiting, gun raised. "For my men," he growls, and shoots Jim. Thinking fast, Hannah slams the car in reverse, crashing back into the mansion. And from the shadows, the freed zombie, the one Jim unleashed, grabs West through the broken window and tears him out of the vehicle. As the zombie delivers brutal vengeance, Hannah pulls forward, scooping up Jim and Selena, and they drive off into the night. The mansion's gates block the road, but Hannah doesn't slow down. She crashes through, straight into freedom. Jim drifts in and out of consciousness, memories fragmented. Selena giving him CPR, begging him to live. A second chance, 28 days later. The trio now lives quietly in a cottage tucked into the countryside. Peaceful, safe. Selena sews tirelessly, stitching together scraps of fabric. Then, a sound. A plane overhead. They rush outside, unfurling a massive message laid across the hillside. HELLO. The plane sees it and turns back. Rescue has finally come.